Hello, and welcome to you all. We return again to create a beloved community, acting together with compassion, reason, and respect. Oh, it's on? Okay. Empowering us to promote a just society. My name's Desria. I'm the coordinator of the family ministry here, and I'm happy to be co-creating today's worship with Reverend Nick Filzen, musician Robin Macy, and all of you. I want to start off by welcoming our visitors. There's a blue card in the seat pocket in front of you. This will help us keep in touch with you and help you be more connected with us. We look forward to saying hi to you during coffee after service. We'll know you by your orange name tag. And whether you're here for the first time or the 1,000th, I sincerely hope you get what you need today. We have some important things to highlight in our shared lives. After the service last week, there was a UU 101 discussion. And by the end, we have 4 new members sign the book. And we also had a member from the past reactivate their membership, and we're now sitting at 106 members. Stay tuned for our new membership ceremony to recognize our new folks and celebrate our growing community. The social justice team meets directly today after the service. Join the conversation in Reverend Nick's office after you get some coffee. The UUA Article 2 Study Commission has done a beautiful job of drafting proposed new UU principles and purpose language, and they want you all to be a part of that conversation. Stay tuned for information on how you can offer valuable feedback in the next few days from Reverend Nick. Also, our rebooted jazz concerts begin this Friday. If you haven't purchased tickets yet, I encourage you to do so beforehand by visiting uuaugusta.org/jazz. And check out this new promotional material and series-specific logo created by our friend Shanita Newton and Newton Creative Consulting. Once again, we're helping out with the Golden Harvest Fall Food Drive through next weekend. This annual food drive was founded by our former member of Seay, Evelyn Brown. Please consider bringing canned and dry goods to place in barrels around the UUCA. And also, please feel free to wear hot costumes to church next Sunday as we celebrate upcoming Halloween. Whether scary or punny, Reverend Nick said he's going to be punny. Speaking of scary, the Filzen family is inviting you all to a scary movie night and chili cook-off at 6:30 next Sunday. I can't wait to taste the chilies. There's still time to vote for which movies are shown. Just follow tinyurl.com/Halloween Eve movie night to make your preferred choices. It's going to be chilly outside, guys, so make sure you bring lots of layers, but we're going to have some hot chocolate and chili as well to keep you all warm. And as we end our announcements, we have one more very important announcement by our board president, Ms. Natalie Reese.
Good morning. So did we get the flow chart in there? Okay, so for the upcoming ministerial vote on November 6th, because it needed to be secret ballot and we had people that were wanting to vote online, the Zoom polls weren't gonna cut it. So we devised a 2-path plan. You can either show up on November 6th and vote in person, like normal. You can indicate a proxy on the paper proxy forms, like usual. Pat Lynch Hayes is our board secretary, and she's happy to help with that process. Or you can vote online. Now, the online voting, pretend like it's what South Carolina does it now too. It's an early vote. It's starting on Monday for the next 2 weeks. It'll close on Friday the 4th at like practically midnight. So if you want to vote, but you're not able to get here on the 6th, or to indicate a traditional proxy, you have to do it those 2 weeks before. We've tried to make it as simple as possible. I've got printouts of all these instructions. That's not really complicated, I'm just wordy. And this flow chart. And I posted it on Realm. You're going to see it in the e-announcements and the newsletter. If you don't see this, then you're really not reading anything from us. So Monday at noon, I've uploaded the current member list, and I'm going to double check it with all these moving parts. But Monday at noon, the emails will go out to everybody that we have an email address on file for. If you don't want to vote that way, just ignore it. Just delete it. But if you do want to vote online, follow the instructions. It should be fairly straightforward. You will have a unique URL and code. So it's an absolutely secret ballot. Nobody's going to be able to get in there behind the scenes and see anything other than whether you voted or not. And we have to close it early because we need to print out that list of who hasn't yet voted so that we don't get people that are like, oh, I forgot I voted online, and then get a paper ballot in person. Would never assume the worst. But so we're up to needing like 53 people to participate for our proxy, which between the online vote and people coming in person and the proxy, I think pretty confident we'll get that. We have to have a 90% affirmative vote to call Reverend Nick as our settled minister. There was one more. Oh yeah, the Zoom. We kind of changed the directions. If you're planning on coming to watch on Zoom Sunday the 6th, it's only for observation. You have to use that early voting link or arrange for a traditional proxy form with someone who's going to be here in person. So make sure you cast that in person. No matter how you vote, we do encourage you to come on the 6th and observe. I think we're going to have like the observers gallery over here and the people who are voting over here, and Zoom will be all observation as well. Any questions? I'm Natalie Reese, board.president@uuaugusta.org, or any of your board members can help out. Thanks.
Thank you, Natalie. Now, as we end our announcement portion of our service, I invite you all to quiet your bodies, awaken your spirits as we enter our next portion of our service.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind, the helping hands, and the loving heart. Together we care for the earth and each other.
Announce the hymn. There are numerous strings, hymn 197.
As we sing this one, I do encourage you to pull your hymnals out because it's a little bit of a tricky road map, and each verse is a little bit different melody. And because of that tricky road map, go ahead and look through both pages to see where verses 1, 2, and 3 start. And as you do so, you're encouraged to rise in body or spirit. Strings in your lute, let me add my own among them. Then when you smite your chords, my heart will break in silence, and my heart will be one with your song. There are numerous strings in your let me add my own among will throb and my life will be one with your smile. There are numerous strings in your lute. Let me add my own among them.
Hello, I'm Marika Bhattacharya, and I'm a member of your pastoral care team, in particular representing those among us, such as myself, who have a mental health challenge. We're a small enough congregation that we have the privilege of sharing the joys and concerns that are shaping our lives, and I invite you all to think of how you might like to share with the congregation today. We're going to start out with the people on Zoom, and
Thank you all for sharing those joys and sorrows. Now we're coming to our portion of service where all our children and those identified as children can come on down, and we're going to have our story for all ages. No, I don't need this. All right. Hey, guys. How you doing? Yeah, we're going to talk about that, sweetie. I'm sorry. All right. So today's story aligns with our service that Reverend Nick will be expounding upon a little later. It's about Rama and Sita, and it is an Indian story. And I'll begin. Prince Rama was the eldest son of King Dashratha and much loved by his father. When Rama married a beautiful princess called Sita, the whole kingdom celebrated with joy. "Now you have a wife, and I shall give you my crown," said the king. "I see you will be a fair and wise ruler." But Rama's stepmother wanted her own son to sit on the throne. She tricked the king into agreeing to this and made him banish Rama from the kingdom for 14 years. Rama and Sita left the palace to find a new home, and Rama's young brother, Lakshmana, went with them. They built a house in the forest, and there they lived a simple, happy life together. One day, Sita spotted a golden deer in the forest. She asked Rama to catch it for her as a companion. Rama left Lakshmana to look after Sita and went to hunt for the deer. Shortly afterwards, Sita heard Rama cry out in alarm. "Go to your brother," she told Lakshmana. "He is in trouble." Lakshmana was reluctant to leave Sita alone, but she insisted, and first he drew a circle around the house with his arrow. "Stay inside this circle, and you'll be safe," he promised her. While he was gone, a bent old man staggered up to the house. With a piteous cry, he stumbled and fell. Without thinking, Sita rushed to help him. But as soon as she stepped out of the circle, the old man disappeared. In his place rose the great demon king, Ravana. "Now I shall have you for my wife," cried Ravana, and he swept her up into his chariot. As Ravana's winged chariot lurched into the sky, Sita thought quickly. She dropped a trail of jewelry for Rama to follow. When Rama returned and found Sita gone, he realized that he and his brother had been lured away with the trick. Rama searched desperately for his wife and found the glittering trail, but the jewels soon ran out. Hurrying on through the forest, he met Hanuman, the Monkey King. Rama had once helped Hanuman, so when the Monkey King heard that the princess was missing, he offered to help in return. "My monkeys will find Sita," he promised. Hanuman called all the monkeys of the world, and they came with their friends, the bears, to search for the princess. But it was Hanuman himself who discovered that she was held prisoner by Ravana on an island far from the shore. "How can we rescue her?" said Rama, gazing across the water. Well, the monkeys and the bears talked together a while, and then they picked up rocks and began to build a bridge to the island. Rama and Lakshmana joined in, and all the animals came out of the forest to help. The bridge grew rock by rock until Rama could lead his animal army across to the island. When they reached Ravana's island, there was a fierce battle. The animals fought the demons bravely. Rama faced Ravana and shot an arrow that sliced off his head. But when the head fell, another grew in its place. 9 times Rama shot an arrow, and 9 times Ravana's head grew back, until Hanuman shouted, "Aim lower, friend." Rama lowered his aim and hit Ravana's chest, and at last the demon king fell dead to the ground. Rama and Sita were happily united. "I shall never send you into the forest again, my love," said Sita. "We don't need to return to the forest," said Rama. 14 years has passed now. We can go home at last to our own kingdom." And so Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana left the demon's island. And as they walked together, they saw 1,000 sparkling lights, for everyone had been awaiting their return and had lit lamps along the way to guide their beloved prince and princess home. All right, that's it for our story for all ages today. Now we'll sing out our children to our faith formation focusers.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, may you grow. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go. Now is the portion of the service where I invite you to really ground yourself, really connect to the seat upon which you sit, the ground upon which your feet rest. Perhaps really tune in to the sounds around you, whether they be calming or perhaps annoying. Whatever it is that you're experiencing in this moment, tune into that as we enter this time of prayer and meditation. Ever creative and created Spirit of love, moving through and alongside us here in this space, when we're out in the world, when we sit alone at home. May you, the Spirit of love, always be present in our lives in an active, embodied way. As we express gratitude for all the things that hold us gently, all the people that support us in our moments of grief, all the experiences that add joy to our lives. I express gratitude for each and every one of those. For the family, for the community of communities that we provide for each other here. And as we express that gratitude, I also want to name that we do live in a time of a lot of grief, a lot of sorrow, a lot of moments of us trying to withstand the pull of despair. A process that requires a tremendous amount of courage, shared courage. We move together along a path of courage that sometimes feels celebratory, like when Rama and Sita re-enter their kingdom. like when a large group of folks march down a central street of your city in celebration, but also in defiant show of power, that we will together make the moves through our shared journey to bring about equity, love, justice, beloved community for everyone. May we be, both as individuals and as a community, beacons of love to shine a bright, fiery light in front of us to light our way. I invite us now to enter a moment of silence as we consider these words, consider what's on our heart, and embody the love that we hold dear. Blessed be. Y'all, even amidst all the trials that this world presents us each and every day and in this moment in history, it really feels like this community here, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Augusta community, is on the cusp of just thriving. We're in this liminal space, this moment right before we enter this new thing of just really flourishing together. And I appreciate so much the energy that each of us brings every day to the stewardship of this community. And part of that stewardship, of course, does include some amount of financial contribution to keep what we're doing alive, to keep it bubbling for all of us, to serve all of our needs and the needs of our community. And with that, I invite us now to enter our offertory, to share, to be generous, to open yourselves up, and to really help this community do what it can be, which is serve the spiritual and loving needs of all of us. Will the ushers please come forward? Thank you all for your generosity, and thank you. So most of the time, the story of Rama and Sita that we heard earlier ends with a triumphant return back to their kingdom, Avoja, with a brilliant celebration and parade path of oil-lit candles lighting the way in a moonless night, a celebration that marked the first Diwali. For Hindus around the world, it's celebrated today, and it's a very, very holy day. And for many of us, it serves as a lovely mythos, a symbolic story, a story to help us make meaning in our own lives about the victory of good over evil. And yet, in this, especially in this moment of time here in the United States and really around the world, where we are seeing the struggle of folks with a womb to have full autonomy over their bodies and lives, it's very important that we talk about the rest of the story of Rama and Sita, the rest of the Hindu sacred tale Ramayana, how the story continues after Diwali. The path of courage really begins after the Festival of Lights. So once they return to the kingdom, Rama and Sita, the laws of a land, or really the fragile whims of the patriarchy in charge, require Sita to go through kind of a intense ritual to prove that her body wasn't defiled, that she was still pure, innocent, dignity intact. A ritual to prove that she hadn't had intercourse with rival king and her captor, Ravana. Whether it was forced or not, they didn't care. After enduring years of captivity by the personification of evil in the story, Ravana, she triumphantly returns home and is immediately forced to walk across fire by the folks who were supposed to be the good guys. They're supposed to love her. And if she's burned, then to them, her dignity was lost. If she's not burned, her dignity remains intact. Now, she completes the trial without harm, and yet people still don't trust her. Prince Rama hears that somebody in his court, somebody with influence, has been questioning her fidelity, even though she has passed this sacred test. The Ramayana is now masquerading as a tale of obedience and power over a woman's body and life. And Rama decides to exile Sita and the twins she is now carrying in her womb, twins that are his. She's deported, sent to live in isolation in a remote forest. Daniel, the screen in the back has gone to Chromecast. Being that it's so many years since Sita's last test, it is now, and I'm going to go back a line, after more conflict with Ravana, there's many years of conflict with this demon god, this demon king, Rama and Sita are reunited some years later. And being that it's so many years since Sita's last test, it is now out of date, I guess, because once again, Rama insists that she do the trial by fire. Once again, Sita must prove herself worthy to her man. Once again, she passes through the flames with no burns. At this point, she makes a very bold choice. She chooses to leave the situation altogether. She exercises the power that she really had the whole time to have control over her own body, even though there were laws and other male people who were literally lording over her existence. She nonetheless had the inherent yet previously hidden to her power to chart a new courageous path for herself. To be clear, I'm not saying that she had the power to leave the whole time, which could be easily construed as victim blaming. I'm saying that she had tremendous inherent power the whole time, that no body, no wombless man could ever completely steal and wrest from her. Now, this continuation of the story that we often don't hear holds tremendous value for us in our current context, both domestically here in the United States and internationally. The dismantling of Roe v. Wade here in the States is perhaps the biggest example. And women actively fighting for even basic rights in countries like Iran is another big example. And this story holds tremendous value in the context of many of us here in this space and our community here in Augusta marching yesterday toward a powerful choice. The power of democracy itself is one that many folks must fight to retain, but that's a conversation for a few weeks from now. But yesterday we collectively willed that choice. The choice to vote and have a say in all our lives, to chart our own liberated and liberating path. It was super powerful seeing so many folks vote early at the end of our march, embodying the deep truth that we do have a say in our lives. We do have autonomy over our bodies, even if the backward politicians claim differently. Yet, unlike Sita, we don't have to make this decision by ourselves. Our strength, our courage is amplified by and with a large portion of allies and justice accomplices, like the roughly 100 people who physically marched yesterday triumphantly down Telfair Street toward the ballot. And Tracy George, who led the march yesterday, made a great point that each of us who vote, each time we vote, it is actually as though we are representing about 10,000 people in the country. So even though there were about 100 of us physically there yesterday, there was so much more power kind of beneath us, that bubbling beneath us, that really made the whole event feel extra powerful. And this march, a march that included folks like me who don't have a womb. For us wombless people, I don't think that it's time to follow Rama's example. He's a bad model if our goal is to be a loving ally. Though there were many wombless folks who showed up and showed out yesterday, a few of whom are in the room, we showed up and showed out in solidarity and celebration. Let's not immediately move back into a patriarchal kind of ownership system after we march once, or even a couple times. Beloved community isn't achieved once and then locked into place forever. It requires perpetual work. The path of courage is long and difficult. Yesterday, we marched together into our own symbolically firelit kingdom full of solidarity and celebration. But our work doesn't end there. The story, just like Diwali, doesn't end there. Wombless folks need to continue down a path of courage too, alongside the folks who suffer most from oppressive decisions made by a few zealots with power. It doesn't have to be a dramatic choice by all the Sitas in our lives to leave a toxic system, to leave the system altogether. And as I talk about us, wombless folks as allies, I don't want to unintentionally overshadow the true hero of this story, Sita, by focusing too much on what we wombless accomplices can do. To move into truly behaving in a way that recognizes the inherent worth and dignity, the inherent power of womb-having folks in our lives, in this world, we need to center them in this integral side quest amidst the whole and continued story that we tell and live. The legend of Sita ends with her being majestically transported to the center of the world. A grand gesture of respect and love by perhaps the most powerful character in the story, Earth herself. After choosing to step off the path of obedience and into the path of liberation, Sita enters heaven in earth. In beloved communion with the Divine Mother, once again highlighting inherent feminine power embedded in the full story, often neglected by hegemonic storytellers. Sita's entrance to the center of the earth is where this larger-than-life story ends. But our story, it continues. Unlike the story of Diwali that's usually told, and instead, like the complete Ramayana mythos, our story doesn't end at this march, or even after the first or second trial by fire, as it were. Our struggles will continue. Our path of courage remains in front of us. And yet, may we all continue to tell and live and embody this story of powerful womb folks. May we continue marching, celebrating, exercising our right of conscience. May our story, like that of Sita and Rama, not be about obedience. May it be a story of liberation, a story of profoundly courageous love, a story, a tale, a love that we embody again and again within this world and the next. Blessed be.
Let us sing our closing hymn together, I Know I Can, hymn 1015.
Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on when sorrow heals my soul and burdens make me strong. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on, my sister and my heart, my brother in love. My lovers wait at every turn. I know. I can go on, and though the journey is long, the destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know, I can go on. So brothers, take my hand, and sisters, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know we will go on. The benediction is a short one today, so if you want to stay on your feet and body or spirit, that's fine. But they're by Reverend Rebecca Savage. One of my favorite Reverend names I think I've ever heard. She says, forged by a greater courage, let us move from this place. encouraged, and refreshed for the journey ahead. Blessed be.